Yep, time for a box build. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I built a dual enclosure for my Sundown Audio X-12s. This is going to be an SQL build, not specifically for SPL. And I'm going to show you guys exactly my thought process in doing this. We're first going to go over to WinISD Pro, where we can get into a virtual environment and design our box from there. And then we're going to jump off into Sketchup, where we can render a 3D model of the enclosure before we cut any wood to see if everything fit in the trunk. And once we get those measurements in that 3D schematic, we're going to cut the wood, we're going to assemble, we're going to install, and then we're going to demo. I'm going to give you guys an SPL demo along with a music demo. So just sit back, relax, grab yourself a couple snacks or something, because this is going to be a long one. First step, virtual environment, WinISD Pro. Let's get it. I've learned over the years that it is best to design your boxes in a digital environment first. Basically what WinISD does is allow you to input the parameters of your subwoofer, speaker, full range, tweeter, what have you, and it'll give you a digital output of what'll be the optimum cabin size for this frequency response in which you're trying to achieve. In this case, we're going to be using two subwoofers from Sundown Audio. This is from their X-Series lineup, and these are going to be 12 inches in size. So I know that as far as the internal volume, I want my box to be around 4 cubic foot with a tuning frequency of around 32 hertz. Once you put these parameters in that you want, it will automatically give you parameters for the vent that you have to build for this. In my case, I'm doing a single vent, and the vent height is going to be 16 inches, and it has a total width of 4 inches. This gives you a total port area of 64 square inches. And in order to get that 31 hertz tuning that I want, you have to have this vent with a length of 38¼ inch. Okay, so right now what you guys are looking at is a 3D rendering of the trunk space of my 2018 Chevy Impala. The 2018 Chevy Impala has a trunk space or cargo volume of 18 cubic foot. The 18 cubic foot is going to be needed because the enclosure that I plan on putting in the trunk is pretty big. This is the dual enclosure that I plan to build for my two Sundown Audio X-12s. And right now on the screen, you can see that in blue, I have a shaded volume here, total volume of 7.6 cubic foot, representing that dual enclosure. And if you guys look at the rendering now, you'll see that 3D model trunk space that is now occupied by that blue space representing the enclosure takes up 42% of my trunk space. So it has a trunk displacement of 42%. Right now on the screen, you see that same enclosure with blue and yellow shading. The blue shading is representative of the internal volume after displacement, and the yellow is representative of the port displacement. If you do the numbers on this, you will see that before displacement, you have 4.5 cubic foot of internal volume, but after bracing and subwoofer displacement, you have around 4.1 cubic foot for the subwoofers. And a little bit of information on the port itself. The port has a tuning frequency of 32 hertz. It has a port area of 64 square inches, and it has a displacement of 1.5 cubic inches in this enclosure. Right now, what you guys are looking at is the enclosure with a finish on it. This will be MDF, not plywood, so it's going to be quite heavy. And it has a total width of 37¼ inches. It had a total height of 17½ inches and a depth of 21 inches. Just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of math on the enclosure itself. Something else I wanted to show you guys were the internals of this enclosure and let you see a little bit of the bracing that I decided to go with inside of this enclosure. As you guys can see right here, the window brace that I have here is in 2 parts. It's actually in 3 parts, but mainly in 2 parts. You can see that this window brace right here is actually a traditional window brace. It has, pretty much 2 two openings right here with a divider in the center of it. And that's pretty much what you'll be working with a traditional window brace. This gives it bracing for the top and the bottom of the enclosure, and also for the walls. This far left wall over here and the port inner wall get braced also by this window bracing. And if you look a little bit closer, you will see that there is additional bracing here. And with this additional bracing, you have these half moon shapes, or the arcs. I decided to employ arcs inside of this enclosure for the baffle and the port wall here. So basically what you want to do, you employ the arcs, which distribute the force evenly across the shape itself, and it's a lot more effective than just putting a cross member here or a piece of wood or a dowel. Many architectures employ the arc with bridges. I decided to do the same thing with this enclosure here. Okay, so moving on, you guys will see that this is what the finished product would look like once the box is carpeted and you spray the port or whatever. My overall finish for this will be a carpet. Leave a comment in the sections below. What do you guys think? Do you prefer the carpet finish, or do you prefer a painted or stained finish? Moving on, I'll pretty much give you a 3D rendering of what the enclosure would look like inside the trunk forward facing. Once again, like I said, this is somewhat of an SQ build. I'm not going for loudness here. I just wanted subwoofers that can do both, and the X-12 seemed to fit the bill. So leave a comment in the sections below. Do you guys prefer forward facing into the cabin, or do you guys prefer loading off the trunk by turning the box around? Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections below. All right, so here I am in the process of getting everything dry fitted. And I kind of wanted to, share with you guys some of the importance of dry fitting. For instance, this is the baffle. Everything looks good. You have a 4-inch port here, slot port. Everything looks good. But then I get to this part over here, and then I look down, and look at how much the baffle board is sticking out. It's about 1/16 of an inch, and most of y'all are probably looking at that like, oh, just buff it out, it's nothing, right? But I know that that's gonna translate over into the build, doing sanding, stuff like that. It's gonna make it harder for me to finish. And the reason for that is because this board right here is too long. So I take this out and I put the tape measure on it, and I see that it is a 1/16 of an inch too long. So in order to save myself a lot of hassle down the road, trying to, get that to look nice and using all that sandpaper and all that crap, I don't want to do all that. It'll be easier just to put this thing back on the table saw and take that smidget of a material off of it. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Okay, now that I know that everything fits the way it's supposed to, what I'm going to do now is disassemble the dry assembly and get these two baffles put together. These things right here are going to have to be glued and possibly screwed. I'm kind of on the fence with it, but I definitely will be using my brad nailer and some weights on this. All right, I wanted to share something with you guys. If you look at my schematic right here, you can see that it has a window brace. It actually has three of them, but we're talking about this main one right here, this big one. It goes in the center, comes down. It's just I would say just basic framing for, a little bit of support so that the box doesn't flex in and out, top and bottom and side to side. There's two ways you can approach this. You can take a solid piece of wood like you see here. This is a piece of MDF, and you can use an actual router to route out, route out a window here, and route out a window there, and leave enough material to actually make this shape right here, the center one. Or you can do what I'm finna do now, that it's not as quick, but it is more efficient because you don't have as much wasted wood. If you can notice right here, I have 5 different pieces of wood. These 2 are the same, these 3 are the same. And I'm gonna show you how you make that window brace. All right, so on the floor, I've laid those pieces out for you. Top, well, this would be the top support, bottom support, and of course you got a support over here in the center and on the side. So these 2 will be this will be supporting the outer wall right here. And this one over here will be supporting this port piece over here. And then you have one that would be dead center of the baffle right here. And all you got to do is make sure that all your pieces are the same thicknesses and widths, and it'll come out just fine. And we're going to be adding even more bracing to this window brace in order to compensate for the lateral force that's going to be exerted upon by the subwoofers. If you guys are in the market for a toolkit, this one here is one that you may want to take a look at. This is the Black & Decker matrix system. And this particular kit that you have right here actually come with 6 attachments. The matrix system actually is a all-in-one unit where you have the body that has like multiple attachment tools that can go along with it. As you guys can see here, you have your everyday drill that has a chuck on it, so the strength of this thing is adjustable. In this video I'm going to be using a router, but it actually comes with a sander, oscillating tool, impact tool. It also have a jigsaw, and what I did not get on the camera is my skill saw that I have with it as well, a little miniature skill saw that is around the same size, believe it or not, as this router that you see me using on the table right now. This router actually does real work in a clean cut, and it accepts any quarter bit router that you have in your collection. I think it's a pretty cool tool. It works on 20 volts, and it's an aftermarket for the batteries that actually connect to these things. So if you're in the market for it, there it is right there. I'll leave a link in the description below if you're into that. All right, so let me share something with you guys. This is the baffle. You guys seen me last night talking about gluing this together. It is glued. I screwed the center of where the holes are going to be cut out at, clamped everything down, let it sit overnight. I want to kind of share a pro tip with you guys as far as when you're assembling your box. Sometimes it's best with an enclosure this size to construct your boxes in pieces, right? What do I mean by that? So you got the baffle here, which is separate from the port. You have an L port in which this is going to be constructed, and then you have framing that has to go inside of here. So what I've done is I've taken those individual parts and I've built them individually, and then I'm going to connect them later on. This is the baffle. I can show you right here on the floor. The port just got through rounding over all the edges that matter. Okay, so that's going to be the L port that's going to fit behind the baffle, and then you have bracing that goes inside of here, in which I've also constructed separately. You see that? So now these pieces are going to be a lot more easy to manage. You know, when you're dealing with 100 plus pound enclosure such as this, you don't want to wreck your back or get something to a point where it needs to be taken out or taken apart because you made a minute mistake somewhere. This makes it a lot more simpler to catch mistakes. All right, so something else I want to share with you guys. Right now, I got the baffle. The baffle is pretty much secured. I got it clamped. It's been glued, clamped with these clamps and with the brad nails. I shot some brad nails in the rear. I have no brad nails long enough to do this though. I want to get some additional clamping force going this way. Even though these clamps, they're doing the job. Everything is flush, 90-degree angle. Always make certain things is flush. Same thing with this, and things are flush. So, like I said, I wanted to get a little bit more additional clamping going this way. And also I'm gonna have to do the same thing for this port over here. Because like I said, my brad nails don't go that deep, and it's gonna have to be secured. So what I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna tap into the baffle about maybe 5 times. And I need a drill bit that's deep enough to go through the baffle and hit that port wall. You get where I'm going with this? Now, ideally, you would want a bit that goes into this as well. I just don't have one on hand. And what you're wanting to do is not split the MDF as you go that way. Kind of hard to do, if you don't have the right hardware, but in my case, I have self-tapping screws. These are deck screws, and if you look at the tip, you see that? It has a little channel on it. And what that channel does is it actually removes a bit of material as you go in. Just don't get crazy with this. Okay, go a little bit at a time, take your time with it, and it'll kind of like carve its own hole. So these are the type of screws you want, because it'll minimize the impact of splitting, but it doesn't completely prevent it. It'll still split. But just get one that's long enough that makes sense. You see that? So I'm gonna get about 3/4 of an inch inside there. That's what you want. So I got about 3/4 of an inch or so that I'm gonna dig into this and help pull it forward to the baffle. So you get a little bit more clamping power like that. So just use these. All right, so we're coming along pretty good here. I have yet to secure the bottom of the box, which I'm going to be doing with brads later on and screws. But for right now, I just wanted to make certain that the port bracing was all squared away. Same thing with here. And because, like I said, because these are not yet tacked to the bottom with with this brad nailer here, since I have yet to do that, I'm just using downward force with the glue. And I'm gonna let it sit here. I'm gonna let it cure for about 4 hours or so. I got an errand to run. So I'm gonna give it time to do its thing, and really the glue is all you need. After about 24 hours or so, It actually does a curing process. And before anyone goes there talking about how small the port is, I did this on purpose. I think it gives it a tighter sound, which these X-12s actually need because they're very deep bass woofer. I almost forgot to share with y'all the bracing. So the window bracing is very simple. From here to there to that port wall is 14 inches. So we just got to hit it dead center, which is going to be 7 inches. So from here to here is 7 inches. We just got to make sure that that's dead center. Mark it on the inside as well, 7 inches. Mark it over there, 7 inches, and just make sure that everything is centered. And what we're gonna do is just glue this guy all the way around, glue it all the way around, and it'll slide right on in there. So that's all I'm gonna do. All right, so what you guys are looking at is the final installation of the window bracing. You have both the pretty much the traditional window bracing. This is kind of named after the fact that it's shaped like most window bracing is in your home. And then you have what I've incorporated within the center, which is the two arcs. It's basically a circle in total. And what this does is it is centered, by the way. Don't forget about this. This is why I call them the two arcs, because it is a centerpiece here that breaks the circle. But what you want to do, the reason why you would probably want to implement this is because of the lateral movement of the subs. When you're talking about subs as strong as the Sundown X-12s, they have a lot of force going this way, this direction. So what you want to do is implement the arc, because the arc distributes that force evenly throughout its structure. So you want to compensate for the backward movement and the forward movement. So you put one here and you put one here, and that'll give you better bracing, in my opinion. So SPL builds such as this, implement the arcs and you'll be better out. I think it looks better as well, so it has a structural integrity, and it also has the cosmetic effect that I was going for. But anyway, that's it for right now on arc. Bracing is wrapped up. Now I have to pretty much let this cure a bit before attaching the top to this, and then I will move on with cutting out the subwoofer holes that's going to go in the front of this enclosure. If you guys are interested in any of the items featured in this video, there are affiliate links in the description box below. Any purchases made through those links helps this channel tremendously. So thanks in advance. You guys are highly appreciated. All right, this box is definitely a lot bigger than I expected. Long story short, I'm going to be putting my terminal over here. It's going to be very simple. Just put 2 nuts and bolts over here so I can get some speaker terminals bolted into this thing. And then we'll be ready for the install. All right, so as you guys can hear, it's raining out here, but I'm safely here in my garage, and I just got this box put in. Man, look at the size of this thing. This thing takes up most of my trunk. Been a while since I had a box in here that big. I think the last box I had in here this size was a 6th order bandpass. Of course, I only do one driver. And it's just shocking how, even though this is taking up the majority of my trunk, it's half my trunk space, it's still too small for the Sundown X-12s that I'm trying to put in here. All right, so right now we're back in the Impala, and what we're gonna be doing is giving these guys an SPL test just to see where they are. I know I said in the beginning that this was a SQL video, but SQL still, you know, you want to know what your pressure level is. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Excuse the glare. And for those who skip straight to this part of the video, once again, these are the Sundown Audio X-12s. These are 2000 watts RMS, and we have 2 of them. This box is 4 cubes net, and it has a port area of 64 square inches. The amplifier that we're using is the Amp Smart 3 bass. And after impedance rise, we may not even see but like half of the power of this amplifier. But just know that right now I don't care about that. I just really care about, you know, what pressure level I can get at this low power, because this is a SQL build. But a lot of people buy these for SPL. I think they're better than that. But that's not what this video is about. In the kick, we have the mini bass meter by SPL Labs. The mini bass meter is a tool that is used to measure your sound pressure level. This here gives you your results in decibels, and decibel is the metric in which measures sound pressure level. So that's what we're going to be using to measure our sound pressure level here in the cabin. Typically we would have the AMM1, but funny story, the first time I tried to test this, I actually left the mini bass meter and I only could get a music demo with the wattages. This time around I left the AMM1 and now I only have the mini bass meter. So I don't know, I think I'm going crazy or something. To get things started, we're going to be doing a bass sweep. The bass sweep is to find your cabin peak, and we're going to be sweeping up from 150 hertz down to 20 hertz, and this is going to be in 30-second duration. We're going to leave the volume at about half volume. Bass knob is around, it's on 40, but it can go up to 60. You don't want to max out your woofers doing a bass sweep. You don't want to get them too warm. So we just want to get them moving and see what our cabin peak is. So here it goes. All right, so that's 20 hertz. Let's give that a stop and see what we got. We got 120 hertz. We got 128 decibels in the kick, but that's not what we're looking for. What we want to know is at what frequency did it get that? 26 hertz. That is pretty good. 26 hertz. This thing likes the lower frequencies. These subwoofers are known for lower frequencies. That's what they are known for, and that speaks to itself. The box is tuned to 32 hertz. That port right there is tuned to port 32 hertz, but the cabin peak is 26 hertz. I've never had subwoofers in here that peak that low. So these things right here, they really like the low end, and that's what we're gonna give them. If you've never experienced 26 hertz, that's ridiculous. That's a 141.7. I wish I can put some real power through them. I know they're not getting no more than 1500 watts. I know I can't prove that on camera today, but goddamn, I know because I've already tested it. Is the impedance rise is preventing this amplifier from putting out. These things, they sound amazing. Even on this low power, they sound amazing. But anyway, okay, so the last SPL test is going to be done at box tune frequency, which is 32 hertz. I know what the cabin is calling for. I don't need y'all to tell me that. Let's get this reset. All right, 32 hertz. Let's get at a stop. They're barely moving. That's not enough power on these guys. But look at the difference. I like it. That let me feel like I've done something right, man. Now, you guys are always asking me, roll down the window, roll down the window. I don't like rolling down my window, man. It's hot out here. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to roll down the driver's side window and allow it to load on this side and go that way. So here we go. I'm letting down the damn window to see if we can increase this. All right, 32 hertz. Once again, driver's door window open. Got them fans going today. 145.8. Who would have fucking known? I never do that. I never open a damn window, but shit, it works. I never open the window because I'm not competing with anyone but myself out here, I guess you could say. I'm not in the lane, so I don't open no damn window. But that works. It actually works if you want to get a little higher. And I can feel it in my face. Basically a 146. In the kick from these two low-end monsters. And I wish I had my tool to show y'all, man. But anyway, that's it for now. Let's reset this and get some music playing. I'd like to take a moment to give a shout out to Big Jeff over at bigjeffaudio.com. When I knew that I wanted to do this dual enclosure setup using the Sundown X-12s, I figured it was going to be a bit expensive. So I reached out to Big Jeff, told him what I wanted to do, and as always, Big Jeff was willing to give me almost dealer to dealer discounts. Big Jeff is out here supporting the community, and I really appreciate what he does. So I just wanted to take this time and say thanks, because every time I reached out to this guy, he's always looked out for me. So I'm happy to say that if you're in the market for anything car audio, look in the description box below, click that affiliate link, and use Budget Basshead to get 5% off your next purchase. This will save you an additional 5% off, and it will give a big thanks to this channel. This is The Grinch by Cushy. it's the hardest right here for these woofers right here. Rec center, this thing right here gets low, man. So what do you guys think about the X-12s from Sundown? Can we just take a moment and appreciate what this company is putting out? This company and others. 2025 is a great time to be into car audio. I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to end on a good note. I came along in the 1900s, in the 90s, doing car audio. It wasn't affordable. It was still fun, but now it's fun still, and it's affordable. This is the best time I've ever had with car audio, and I think we all should enjoy the moment. With that being said, thanks for visiting the channel to help you simplify car audio. It's the Budget Basshead, and I'm out.